Hi, everyone. I can do this gesture again. I like the video. Yes. So I'm Giovanni Laquidara. I was a developer, native Android developer before joining Amazon, and now I'm a developer advocate at Amazon. That means that I can create fancy videos about following the best practice in software development. But because I'm Italian, I also like create fancy videos about how to cook proper pasta, like carbonara, no cream, okay?
And hello, everybody. My name is Eric Fahsl. As you can tell, I'm clearly not Italian. So, because I like pineapple on pizza, and I also enjoy cappuccinos after lunch. I know those are two cardinal sins. So I am a product manager for Fire TV, although I was a former web developer. I worked on Backbone.js and Angular 1 for those in the know before I switch over to product. Yeah. So.
Yes, we had our colleague at React Conf last week. For the people that went there or followed the live stream. They had a talk about extending React Native beyond mobiles and desktop apps. This is not going to be the same.
It's going to be better.
Oh, OK.
Yeah.
You say. But the first question that many people asked me, even yesterday at our Amazon Dev booth, but probably even you can have this question now. Why Amazon is an React Native events? And I can say that Amazon is using React Native since years across all the ecosystem of apps developed and used by a lot of users, Amazon users. Like, for example, this screenshot is taken from the React Native Showcase website. So you can see that the Amazon Marketplace app, the Amazon Alexa, the Amazon Photo One, the Kindle app, and the Amazon App Store, and even the Amazon Prime Video app, right, Eric? Yes, even that one is in React Native.
Music, yeah.
Music as well. So like you can see, we are dedicating a lot in using React Native for our apps. And even we are producing, as Amazon, a lot of different hardware, different devices that are a lot of different form factors, considering the screen and considering even the way of inputting in these devices. We have the tablets, the Fire tablets, but we have the Fire TV. And the Fire TV, we have the Fire TV sticks and the Fire TV running on actual smart TV. That, then we will see later, it's like, well, probably like the user is controlling the TV in a different way. And like talking about TV, we are like more than 200 million devices worldwide. That is pretty important.
That's right. Actually, Max's app, 9 Now, is on our Amazon App Store in Australia. And it is actually one of our best, most used apps in Australia. I know, because I looked at the data. So thanks, Max, for talking about React Native on TVs for us. So
Thank you, Max.
Yeah.
Thank you. All the Amazon devices are powered by Fire OS. That is an operating system based on the Android open source project. So that means that if you are developing your app for Android TV, you can straight away port your app into the Amazon App Store, and it's going to run on the devices from the Amazon ecosystem that you select from the Amazon App Store console. And that means that if you're using Java, Kotlin, and React Native as well, you can develop across a big set of different devices. You can use also Flutter, by the way, but probably this is not the right moment and location to talk about it. But today we will focus around TV. Why should I care as a React Native mobile developer? Should I ever care about TV?
Yeah, so this is Gio's living room. I had told this is very Italian style. No, clearly it's an AI image. So the TV, as Nathaniel said at the beginning, it's the biggest screen in the house. People come together. It's more of a communal experience versus a personal experience, and offers more of a lean-back experience. And I'm going to skip this question because Max already covered it. I think everybody has a TV. I think everybody's used a streaming app, so we're good. But I am going to bring in some quotes from some of our development partners. So TheoPlayer is an example of a video player library that builds across different streaming devices, including they have a React Native SDK. And their CTO gave me this quote that if you're involved in multimedia at all, you can't ignore connected TV devices. It's pretty clear. And as Max covered a little bit, the ecosystem is fairly large and fragmented. This slide, this picture is from another video player library called Bitmovin, and you can see that there are many different permutations. And while Amazon is only a subset of this slide, we do believe that TV apps, a rising tide lifts all boats, so that's why we're here talking about TV. And obviously, React Native can go to multiple devices and platforms. And so what we want to talk about, so I'm going to talk about some theory about 3 concepts, and Gio is going to follow with some practical, and we will not repeat Max too much. The first principle is around the big screen UX, also called 10-foot UI, or 3 meters for those who don't speak American. And I'm going to go with a quote from Bitmovin. He's got some great things in here. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but he touches some awesome points. When you go from your mobile UX to a TV, you're going to make some changes. You want to be legible from a distance, actionable elements should be clearer, there should be intuitive mapping. So there's a little bit of a theme of simplicity. We do have a series of design principles on our website. It's not the most beautiful website, but the principles are great. And I'm going to talk about 3 points with another example around navigation, information density, and typography/colors. Let's dive in. So let's talk about a case study. I guess I need, for NFL, which is American football. I just have to clarify that. We are in Europe.
I don't know anything about it. So.
Yes. So NFL is another app that's on the React Native Showcase. They build across Android, iOS, React Native Web, and TV. So they gave me permission to talk about their app. So this is their app across mobile, tablet, and TV, and let's look at some of those differences. So navigation. On the TV, navigation's typically on the top or on the side. There may be a sliding panel. Their mobile and tablet, it's on the bottom. So difference, fine. Information density. So this is, if you take one word, one thing, think information density. It's going to be different on TV versus others. There's far fewer elements on the TV screen. I counted, I think on the mobile there's 10, tablet there's 20-ish, and the TV has 8. So even though the TV is 10 times the size or so of the mobile phone, there's actually fewer elements on screen. It's also driving you to, in a simpler way to basically consume content, get to video playback. And then the final one that I'm going to mention here is a color scheme. So you don't typically see many TV apps in all white. You can imagine that would blind you if you're trying to watch something in the evening. So color schemes, fonts may be different. So there's a whole bunch of things on there. We're not going to bore you to death with all the details. So there's differences, but there's also some similarities. At Amazon, some of our apps that we build with React Native, we do use component libraries, some that we built internally. NFL, I'm going to quote Michael, a director from NFL. So they use React Native Pixel Perfect to try to get reuse across some of their different devices. And then I guess I can't talk about TV without talking about multimedia. There are literally conferences dedicated to multimedia and streaming. And so I'm just going to give the quick overview that there are lots of resources available. 2 of my favorite are some of our partners that I already mentioned before, from Theo and Bitmovin. Michael actually gave a talk in Las Vegas a month ago on how they use video playback and the React Native app. And then Bitmovin also has a great guide for streaming video players for React Native. So those are great resources. They could speak to it better than me. But let's move on. So D-pad and focus management. So obviously, when you are on a TV, for the most part, you're using a remote control. So you've got up, down, left, right, directional pad. You may have buttons like back, forward, et cetera. And focus management is the concept. I'm not going to do too much detail. In principle, it's basically defining what you can select and from where. When your UX is designed well, following those principles I said earlier.
We're going to see that in a bit. We're going to see practically how to develop it.
Yeah. It seems simple, but there's always going to be some rules, some weird rules. We'll talk about it in a bit. Like Max mentioned before, TV focus guide view from the React Native TVOS is a great way. NFL has used this on their app. It's reduced their bugs across their different platforms and ecosystems. Might work for you. There's also other options as well. We'll talk about in a bit. And the last one, Max also covered a little bit about performance, but I love this quote from Michael. And so while we Amazon have a lot of devices, some of them are not very expensive. So you can imagine that the hardware in a $50 to $60 Fire TV stick is a lot compared. It's not as powerful as my $1,000 plus iPhone. So I thought this is great. They use a performance tier designation, so they can toggle flags in order to make sure that there's a great experience for their customers across the different devices. And then also with performance tooling, there's existing resources, lots of topics on this. CallStack has a great guide. We use the BAM flashlight tool, and Appium is a great way to test on devices. Fortunately, Max talked about that, so I don't need to go into it too much more. But enough of me talking. Let's see.
Thank you.
Here you
This
go,
looks
Gio.
like me. Oh, no,
It is.
maybe with
It's
more
longer
hairs.
hair, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see how to actually develop TV apps with React Native. So first things first, you have to use a specific fork of React Native called React Native TVOS. This will assure that your app will be supporting TVOS from Apple and Android TV. And because the Fire TV is actually based on the Fire TV Fire OS is actually based on the Android open source version, Android open source project, this React Native TVOS is going to support even the Fire TV. Since the beginning of this year, you can actually create an app with Expo and React Native TVOS just from the command line using Expo. So Expo is supporting developing TV application. If you want to analyze a TV app in terms of UX, UI, usually probably you saw a lot of them, a lot of TV apps. They have something in common. And it's like the way they represent the content that they present to the user and the way the user navigates around the content. You might have a navigation drawer on the left side, and sometimes you have the tabs on the top. One of the best practices say that it's better never have both on the same screen, because otherwise the user can be confused. If you want to implement the navigation drawer on the left side, you can use the drawer for React navigation. So that is supported. But if you have if you want to tweak the performance, probably for the animations of the drawer, or you want to have some more customization of the drawer, it's better to use a custom view. And of course, when you use a custom view to implement the drawer, you may use custom view even for the item of the menu. So for example, you can have buttons or other components that you will want, and you may want to apply a style to them. Another thing one of the most important part of the UI of the TV is it's called the grid of content. That is like a set, it's a grid of cards. They usually are and can be implemented with the flat list, but only, and I suggest you to use the flat list only if you have a predefined and small number of cards and contents, because otherwise you may recur in some performance issues, especially if you have a dynamically changing number of content of cards, and then the list is gonna have some hiccup, especially when you are changing the focus. In this case, you can use here a custom view and a virtualized list that, by the way, for this example, I use the one from BAM Theodore library that have an amazing sample app that you can use straight away, it also have some good performance that you can use straight away to run your application for TV. And because we are developing for TV, the screen, of course, the screen set of the many TVs are so fragmented. They have different resolution, different ratio of the screen, and probably because that TV doesn't mean only that it's running the app on the living room, or maybe on the car, or maybe on another devices. And to do this, to support different screen, it's better your UI scales the dimension and the pixel across all the screen. And that is some experiments using the React Native Pixel Perfect library that it works flawlessly across the different platform and even supports the web platform. That is important if you're running your app, if you're building your app for the TV that are supporting that are web-based TV. So in this case, you can use the React Native Pixel Perfect, defining the design resolution that you want to stick your app with, and then the create function is going to deal for you all the scalings of the UI and the pixel for your team. one important, probably one of the most important and complicated point of developing TV apps is the focus management, because the focus need to be coherent with what the user is, what action the user is performing on the controller. So that means if I press up on the cast movie list, oh, we are not actually actors. No,
it's my favorite movie, by the way.
Yeah, the favorite movie.
Oscar
focus management. It's an horror movie. No, so like that means is I've used the controller, and then I go up to audio option, and then I go down again, I press down again. The user will think that the next focus element should be the previous one, like the one that you focused before. To do this, yes, you can use the API of React Native TVOS, but I found that one of the best library that is helpful to actually develop, implement focus management is the one from BAM Theodore, React TV Space Navigation. Even Max had a slide, thank you Max, about this library. But essentially it's like component-based, so like declarative-based. So you don't need to develop with some weird hooks and just like use the component for implementing the focus. You can wrap your elements in a special navigation view, and then they will react with their own select with the action that you want. For example, highlighting with the scaling animation of the card, the focus element. Talking about different kind of TV, different kind of OS, I used the same demo that I was using to show you the best practice to build a web application based on the same project. And I used because at home I have an LG TV, I used the web OS building platform, building tools to create a package for my LG TV, and then the demo works flawless across the TV. I can show you again. So yeah, this is my TV with my actual living room. Okay, so just a white, but this is my real living room, like part of the wall. So like you can actually build with React Native TVOS a web version of it and deploy it on the TV OS that you prefer. I was talking before about the scaling animation, and this is really important. Animation is really important when you consider the performance. On the left side, you can see a video of the same demo running on a really old Fire TV stick device that, of course, is not so much powerful like the newest one. And you can see that there is I slow down the video to make actually the animation, the scaling animation be more highlighted in the video. So I slow it down a little bit. But in this case, the app was not really responsive. And if you check the analysis performed by Flashlight, you will see that there is like every time I change the focus in the app, I have like a really high peak of CPU consumption. On the right side, instead, I just removed the animation. So Flashlight stated like they have 100 score points, and the CPU was not so occupied like before, of course. So in this case, my suggestion to you is like try to detect the device in your app that is running, the application, and if it's not so powerful, maybe with a feature flags, you can shut down the animation or shut down the fences animation that probably are not so useful in that case. Like performance are more important than fancy animation. You might wonder how to start to create TV apps. So right now in React Native, you have something like Ignite from Infinite Red, that is like the most famous boilerplate to develop mobile apps in React Native. And the maintainer, the creator and maintainer, Doug Lauder, the maintainer of React Native TVOS, created a special version of Ignite called Ignite TV that is actually has the same UI, almost the same of Ignite, right? But what I told you before, like never had the tabs navigation together with the drawer. And then if you check even this, doesn't really look like a TV app the way that we were like telling you before, like following the best guidelines. So that's why I personally created a pull request on that Ignite TV repository to make it more TV guidelines friendly. And this is available now. You can actually use Ignite TV to take the app and run it on TV. So like you can see, as the doorway navigation was changing into like a grid with focused guard navigation. There is like a dark theme, because like Eric said before, like sometimes it's better to have dark colors on the TV, but it's also changing dynamically. And you can access this project at React Native TVOS/Ignite TV, and all the work that we are doing together are in a special branch called TV UI optimization. And we are adding more and more in the future, more features following the best guidelines for TV. If you want to know more about even TV navigation, we are maintaining a blog together with the guys from Theodore, in which we are writing about the best practice for TV. So you now have a lot of information to start creating your TV app like now.
Great. Yes, thanks, Gio. So almost done here. But just so you know, I mean, so those are the concepts. You know, you're creating your TV app, et cetera. Each of the devices are going to have some of its own customizations. At Amazon, we have our device that we call a content-forward UI with integrations for things like voice with Alexa, live TV tab integration, content integration, and others. We also have some capabilities like our system X-ray tool for testing and live app testing and in-app purchase mock flows. For you to help build for Amazon devices. And then to wrap up the concepts, so again, remember, when you want to build for TV, think about three things. You know, that 10-foot or 3-meter UI. Think about how you're going to handle D-pad and focus management, and how will you handle performance. So Gio, what else do we have to announce?
Yes, so we have 3 main points to support you into this journey in developing React Native apps, especially React Native TV apps. So first of all, we are here all the days together. Come at our dev lounge. We are going to have an expert lounge directly after this talk. If you have some apps that you want to review with us, if you have some ideas, we are happy to help you. Then we have, because we know that sometimes developing an app, it makes that you may have a lot of effort even into the back-end part, and I would say monetary effort for the back-end part of your application. We are starting the App Store Small Business Accelerator program. It will give you back, of course, there are some requirements to join this program, but it will give you back some of the money back, like in AWS promotional credit. And the most important thing is that we are starting our first open source funding for third-party React libraries in the open source. So that means that if you are the creator of a React Native package and you have that on GitHub, it's open source, you can join this fund and we can support you with a lot of things around this. So like happy to tell you this. And then we are together like bringing a lot more contribution to the open source world, like you saw it before. If you are interested into the React Native open source funding from Amazon, feel free to scan the QR code. This will be useful even if you want to know more about, for the future, program, sample guides, content we will gonna generate later. But it's super useful if you are maintaining or developing a React Native libraries in the open source, because the form will ask for it.
Yeah, we have lots of exciting updates, so please check out our booth. Same QR code there. We also have lots of swag to give out. We have lots of socks.
Oh, yeah.
We have many, many socks. Please take a pair. Please take 2 pairs, maybe more. Otherwise, we have to send them back. But in all seriousness, do sign up, because we have exciting updates on how we're working with React Native community, and we'd love to have you as part of that.
I also, one thing, if you want to see the code, actual code of the demo apps that I presented, because I didn't have so much time to show actually the code, come with me at that booth.
We'll be in the expert lounge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, grazie.